Welcome back, everyone, for another one of our college recruiting experience interviews. We're excited to have you guys tune in to have a chance to hear from another one of our former athletes from Top Flight. And we're just going to go ahead and get a chance to meet her, see her perspective and how things work for her to pass on little information to you guys. So without further ado, what is your name?
My name is Renee Rush.
Excellent. And when you were at the juniors level, what position did you play?
I played a pin hitter, so I played both right side and outside throughout the years.
Okay. And when did you graduate from Top Flight?
I graduated in 2015, so I still consider myself old now.
No, not quite. You're not there yet. And so after you left Top Flight, where did you end up going to study and compete at?
Yeah, so I went and played and studied at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, which is D3.
Okay. And while at Oshkosh, what position did you play for the program?
So I stuck with the pin hitter. So my freshman and sophomore year, I played right side. And then my junior and senior year, I transitioned over to outside.
Okay. Excellent. So not really a position change there. So now we're going to kind of move into more of, now that we got a feel for you, we're going to move more into the actual recruiting process and get your take on that. So going into a varsity program, you likely had communication with the coaches. And so when you were talking to the coaches, what was the typical communication style that they enjoyed using most?
So I would say mostly email is like how we first got in contact with people, the coaches and stuff like that. Yeah, so from email we went, and then the coaches, there were several of them, would come and watch me play in person at like one of the tournaments and stuff. So then from there, I kind of got a feel, like I got to talk to the coaches there. I would go and do a meet and greet and get a feel for the campus. And from there, I kind of committed like right there basically. But
Sure.
I mean, Oshkosh made different ways of keeping in contact through like email, text, personalized letters that he sent out, and then obviously in person as well.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. And so was there kind of a natural progression through the communication process in terms of style that they use to communicate with you? Was it something that like I asked, it happened naturally? Was it more of they kind of informed you, hey, okay, let's get on the phone or let's start texting, and then the other ones that you used earlier kind of faded away? Or was it something that maybe you were self-driving in terms of moving from, some kids when they're in high school, they're not as great responding to emails or checking their emails. So was there ever any self-driven, hey, it'd be better or easier for me if we could text or phone call because that's a little bit more instantaneous and a little faster?
Yeah. So I guess I would say that a lot of it started off with email, either if I emailed them first or if they emailed me first to get in contact. And then from there, like if I reached out, I would send like my introduction letter or with my video along with it, just to like introduce myself. And then they were pretty good at like responding like in a decent amount of time. And I guess they would reach out and be like, hey, send me your schedule, and then I'll come watch you play. And like from there we talked in person. And then they would also be like, hey, here's my number, like we could talk on the phone, make it feel like more personal. And then there was just different ways of making it more personalized than
Sure.
just a player in their search.
Sure. Okay. And that kind of makes sense. So when you were talking with the coaches in the beginning, how many schools were you trying to communicate with?
So the schools that I was reaching out to, I kind of had a idea of what my major was going to be from the get-go. So my major was media related, and not all the schools have a media major. So I really narrowed it down based on major, like its campus size, school, like the feel and stuff like that before reaching out. So I had that like um, wide like range of like who I was sending my videos out to. And then obviously the ones that like reached out to me, I would do my research and like look at the school, look at the volleyball program, see if they had my major and stuff like that. So I guess I narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 that I was talking to pretty seriously.
Okay. Okay. Looking back, would you say, now I know you said that you quickly narrowed things down because you had an idea for the major you wanted, and it wasn't a widely uh, offered major. But looking back, did you feel like that was a good amount that you were working with, or did you feel like maybe you should have been trying to talk with more, consider other options with where you might go to school?
Um, I thought it was pretty good amount. I mean, I'm sure there's better ways to do it and like more, like talking to more, talking to less. I mean, never know. But I just thought for what I was looking for, that was kind of like the route I was taking based on like location, size, major, and stuff like that. I mean,
Sure. Okay.
I was dead set on going south for school to go to the sunshine, and obviously that did not happen.
Sure. Hey,
It worked.
sometimes you think there are specific factors that are important to what you
Mhm.
want and are going to determine what it is, but then you come out after doing a little bit more research or looking into things that maybe that's not nearly as important, or it's not what's going to dictate where you go. So that's
Exactly.
okay, and that's cool to see that that kind of happened. You originally had something that you thought initially towards the beginning was going to be how it might dictate, and then it changed in the process. So when you started in the communication process and you were working with those 3, 4 schools pretty seriously, how frequently, weekly, daily, how frequently were you trying to communicate with
Um, okay. I would say probably it wasn't like over the top, I guess I would say. It was just like whenever it felt natural. So either like getting in touch for a meeting, going to visit the campus, like stuff that was like going to drive it. And like once I committed, it was more based on um, like setting up roommates, setting up that kind of stuff along the way for school as well. So I would say I don't remember how frequently, to be honest, but I wouldn't say it was like super over the top or like nothing. It was kind of a good mesh in between.
Sure, sure. Um, so then looking beyond necessarily the frequency, but looking at the fact that, you were communicating with multiple universities, was there a specific staff member that was consistently the one that you would communicate with the most if they had multiple? Or maybe was there a typical process from moving from one staff member to the next? Or was every single program just kind of doing their own thing and everything was different?
I mean, I think it kind of changed throughout different schools and like how they have their process set up. But for Oshkosh, I was talking to the head coach at the time, and some of the other schools, I was either talking to the head coach or the assistant coach.
Okay, okay. Um, did you notice if there were others that did reach out to you on behalf of the head coach at times, or was it pretty consistently, especially with Oshkosh, was it always pretty consistently just the head coach?
I would say like when they were reaching out to me, a lot of it was so it was either like the assistant coach reaching out for the head coach or the head coach himself through email.
Okay,
And
okay,
then Oshkosh, I mainly talked to the head coach at the time.
great, great. Um, and overall, now having gone through that recruiting process and getting into Oshkosh, uh, were you happy? I mean, I assume you were excited with getting to Oshkosh and being part of their program. And I am familiar with their program, and I know it's a pretty quality program, and the school is a pretty quality school. Were you overall happy and excited with where your recruiting process took you and what it got you in the end?
Yeah, so I'm happy that I chose Oshkosh. Not like obviously for the volleyball part, I love the volleyball part, but like even just being a student athlete and like being on campus, being a student athlete even on campus was something special as well. And like I honestly don't remember like all the games I played, won, lost, and stuff like that, but like I made my best friends out of it. And so like that's what I really take away from being a student athlete is like you have those group of girls that are like your people for 4 years. And so like I walked out of there with some of my best friends. So I'm happy that I chose that way and chose Oshkosh and like how it turned out through all the ups and
Awesome.
downs.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Again, I'm very happy to see that you're just one more example for our athletes to know that when you put in the time and effort, you'll have a great experience, and there's some certain things that will really come out that aren't matched if you don't try to put in the effort to really find what it's going to fit for you and be good for you. So I'll leave us with one last final question here to you, Renee. What is some parting advice that you have for the athletes as they're starting to look into getting involved in the recruiting process?
Sure. I would say go and visit schools, because growing up, like, I never had a dream college to say. Like, I never had that, like, either Big Ten school that I was like, oh my God, I want to go here, or like any school in general. And so I really didn't know what I was like looking for. And so as I like went and like visited the schools along the way, I think that really helped, because like I kind of figured out what I liked and what I didn't like. And so like that really helped me to have a focus on like what I'm really looking for my future.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, Again, thank you so much, Renee. I really appreciate that you took the time. I know that we caught you at work, so we really appreciate you taking the time to give back and help the top flight athletes with a little bit of advice and some information. I want to wish you all the best, and hopefully being able to continue on with somehow being involved in volleyball.
Adult
And I hope you
in
have
life.
say that one more time.
I have to adult in life now.
Yeah, we all eventually get there.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're able to stay somewhat involved in volleyball, and even if it's things like this where you're able to kind of give back to the other top flight athletes, we really appreciate it. So again, thank you so much, Renee. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. All right.
Thank you. You too.